Hello students, I hope you are all fit and fine in your homes. Children, in the previous chapter, that is chapter 9, we have studied how animals reproduce, and it is only after growing up to a certain age that human beings and many other animals can reproduce. Now the question is, why can human reproduce only after a certain age? So dear children, in this chapter you will learn about the change or the changes that takes place in the human body, after which a person becomes capable of reproduction. The name of the chapter is Reaching the Age of Adolescence. Adolescence word has its origin from the Latin language, and the Latin word from which it is originated is adolescere. It means to grow, to mature, that is, achieving an identity. Adolescence is actually a period of life when the body undergoes changes leading to reproductive maturity. It begins around the age of 11 and lasts up to 18 or 19 years. Adolescents, the people who are in the range of these years, they are known as adolescents, or we can also call them as teenagers. There is a term called puberty. Now, what is puberty? Children, in human body, or I can say the human body undergoes several changes during adolescence, and these changes mark the onset of puberty. Puberty is actually a certain period of life or at certain age only when a body experiences certain or sudden changes. And the most important change which marks puberty is that boys and girls become capable of reproduction. And puberty ends when an adolescent reaches reproductive maturity. The average age for girls to begin puberty is 11, while for boys the average age is 12. But it's different for everyone. So you don't have to worry if you reaches puberty before or after your friends. It's completely normal for puberty to begin at any point from ages of 8 to 14. So the process can take place up to 4 years. Okay, so this is the puberty. Puberty is means when changes start in your body, then it means that puberty has started. Okay, so what are the different changes that you can see at puberty? These are the list of changes which are mentioned in this slide. For example, increase in height, change in the body shape, voice change, increased activity of sweat and sebaceous glands, development of sex organs, reaching mental, intellectual and emotional maturities. So these are the changes that your body will feel when you enter at puberty age. So we'll study one by one what are these changes. Number one is increase in height. So this is the most conspicuous change during puberty, and at this time the long bones, that is the bones of arms and legs, elongate and make a person tall. Okay, so your height increases when you enter in puberty. Okay, I'm repeating again and again that all these changes, they vary from person to person. Okay, average rate of height is given in the table, and it is also given in your book on page it is also given in your book. I don't remember the page, but it is given in your book, where this is the first column is the age in years, and the second column is the percentage of full height in boys and girls. So this shows this, if it is you are of 8 years of age and the height increases up to 18 years. After 18 years, this the increase in the height is 100%. So after 18 years there will be no increase in the height. So how will you calculate full height? For example, you are 9 years old now, and you are 120 centimeters tall. So the formula for calculating height is present height divided by percentage of full height at this age into 100. So if you are 9 years old and 120 centimeter tall, then you will calculate your height at the age of 18 will be 120 divided by 75 into 100 is equal to 160 centimeter tall. Okay, so in this way you can calculate your height. Now other change that you can see at puberty is the change in the body shape. In boys, the shoulders become broader and the chest become wider, and the muscles of the body grow prominently. In girls, the region below the waist become wider and the muscles of the body do not grow prominently. So there is variation between the two sexes, that is boys and girls. Third change which you observe during puberty is voice change. At puberty, the voice box or the larynx begins to grow. Voice box, you all know, it is in the neck region. It is also known as larynx. So it starts growing. Now in boys develop larger voice box. Boys have a deep and hoarse voice. The larynx is visible clearly, but in girls it is hardly visible from outside, and girls have a high pitched voice. Now look at the figure. This is the voice box and it is protruding. Protruding means bahar nikla hua hai. So the growing voice box can be seen as a protruding part of the throat, and it is known as Adam's apple, and it is quite prominent in the boys at the age of puberty, but it cannot be seen in girls. Okay, now in adolescence, the muscles of the growing voice box go out of control sometimes, and the voice becomes hoarse, and this takes place in the case of boys. But the girls, they have high pitched voice in the adolescence age. Next change that can be observed during puberty is the increased activity of sweat and sebaceous glands. The secretion of sweat glands and sebaceous glands are the oil glands. So when you reach at puberty, their secretion increases. Many young people get acne and pimples on the face at this time because of the increased activity of these glands in the skin. Development of sex organs. In boys, the testes and penis develop completely, and the testes also begins to produce sperms. In girls, the ovaries enlarge and eggs begins to mature, and also ovaries start producing mature eggs. And the last but not the least change that you can observe when you enter into the puberty age is the mental maturity. Mental maturity means it is the time in one's life when the brain has greatest capacity for learning. So dear children, you all are now in the adolescent stage, so be careful and focus your brain so that you learn maximum at this age. And next change is the intellectual maturity. The intellectual maturity means the change in the person's way of thinking. The person feels more dependent than before and also becomes self-conscious. At the age of puberty, you all become self-conscious. मैं अच्छा लग रहा हूँ या नहीं लग रही हूँ, मैं अच्छी लग रही हूँ, मैं अच्छी दिख रही हूँ, मेरे बाल कैसे हैं. So we all become self-conscious. And the last change is emotional maturity. At adolescent or during the adolescent age, a person feels a little bit insecure while trying to adjust to the changes in the body and the mind. Since so many changes are taking place in the body of a person, so person becomes insecure because he or she does not understand what is going on inside the body, because every new day he or she finds a new change in its body. So little bit insecurity comes, but we should not feel insecure. You should, if you have the knowledge, then you will find that these changes are normal, these changes are scientific. Is secondary sexual characters. Now what are secondary sexual characters? Secondary sexual characters are those characters which distinguish between boys and girls, means which help in distinguishing between boys and girls. And these secondary sexual characters develop at the age of puberty. And in boys, like this, the reproductive organs in boys are testes. So these testes, they start producing gametes. Gametes are actually sex cells, and in boys or in males, the gamete is called sperm. Boys also begin to grow facial hair, that is mustaches and beard. And in boys, the hairs also begin to grow on the chest, under the arms and the region above the thighs or the pubic region. In girls, the secondary sexual characters that develop is their reproductive organs, that is ovaries, they start producing gametes, and the female gamete is called ova or ovum. Next secondary character is that they start, the breast begins to develop, and also the hair also begins to grow under the arms and the region above the thighs or the pubic areas. Now all these changes that occur at the adolescence are controlled by the chemical substances called hormones. That means on the onset of puberty or at the beginning of puberty, hormones our body start producing these hormones which bring changes in our bodies, and these hormones are secreted or produced by the endocrine glands. Endocrine glands are the ductless glands with having no duct, so they are known as endocrine glands. And in boys, the hormone which is produced, or we can say the male hormone, is called testosterone, and it is produced by the reproductive organ testes, and it also causes the hair growth. And these hormones, they are responsible for the secondary sexual characters to develop. In girls also, the ovaries, they begin to produce the female hormone or the estrogen. So what is the name of the female hormone? It is estrogen, which makes the breast develop. Milk secreting glands or the mammary glands develop inside the breast. So all these hormones, that is testosterone and estrogen, they are under the control of a master gland, which is also an endocrine gland, and this master gland is known as pituitary. So thank you, and we will continue with the next topic of the same chapter in the next video. Thank you so much.